Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Text 30. All the demigods from the upper, lower, and middle universal planetary system assemble at the altar of the Rajaswaya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings. The damsel of Braja, after pastime of laughter, humor, and exchange of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stern intelligence and could not finish their household duties. The personality of Godhead, the all compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creation, is unborn. But when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the Mahatattva. When I think of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudeva, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Braja and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how ultimately, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear. All these bewildering incidents give me distress. Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their Krishna and Balaram inability to serve their feet due to being away from home because of great fear of Kansa. He said, "O mother, O father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at heart. Who, after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, could ever forget it? Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who were burning the earth. You have personally seen how the king of Jedi, Sisupala, achieved success in yoga practice, although he hated Lord Krishna. Even the actual yogis aspire after such success with great interest by performance of their various practices. Who can tolerate separation from him? Certainly, others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows. And while seeing the lotus face of Krishna so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord. Lord Shri Krishna is the Lord of all kinds of trees and is independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of fortune. He is worshipped by the eternal maintainers of the creation, who offer him the paraphernalia of worship by touching their millions of helmets to his feet. Therefore, O Vidura, does it not pain us, his servitors, when we remember that he, Lord Krishna, used to stand before King Ugrasena, who was sitting on the royal throne, and used to submit explanation before him, saying, "O my Lord, please let it be known to you. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to the she demon Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast." Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madhi. When you're ready, you can start, Madhi. Gopijana Priya, Madhi.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mataji, for reading the translations. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pashatate Shatharine. Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Our glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Today we are continuing to hear from Canto 3, Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna. So we have heard yesterday from Krishnavendas Prabhuji yesterday about how Sukadeva Goswami has explained about the exalted position of Sri Uddhava. So how he was a devotee from his childhood and how he is continuously serving and absorbed in the thoughts of Lord Krishna since his childhood times. And when Vidura asked the question to Uddhava about telling the message of Lord Krishna, then Uddhava has completely absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna, and he couldn't even speak. His body did not move. He became dead silent. So he completely went into devotional ecstasy for a moment. So later, Vidura has noticed that how much love that he has for Krishna, and later he started speaking, and he first mentioned about how Krishna has set from this world, and how unfortunate the Yadu families and all the inhabitants of this universe. Then Krishna has, Uddhava has explained about Yadus, they know Krishna as Paramatma, and further he's telling that the devotees of the Lord cannot be bewildered by foolish people arguments. So Sri Prabhupada has written beautiful purports for that, and we should faithfully accept the Acharya's authority, and we should follow that. We should not be bewildered by the foolish people arguments that we see in our daily life. Also, we can practically apply that one. So from today's verse 13, here it's saying that when Yudhishthira Maharaj was performing Rajasuya sacrifice, then he invited all the demigods from upper, middle, and lower planetary systems, and he invited great sages. We see that elaboratedly in Canto 1, whom and all that he invited, and Krishna was performing menial service at that sacrifice also. And when the decision comes, Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted to give Agratambula, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that Sabha. Then all the demigods were there, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Lord Indra, everybody was there, and everybody agreed that it has to go to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So here, this is very, very famous verse also. This is quoted by Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion, when describing about Krishna's bodily features and his beauty, that how the demigods in all the planetary systems of this universe are attracted to Krishna's beauty. So they were saying that they were so astonished and saying that this is ultimate creation from Brahma. So in the purport, Prabhupada has cleared it out. Actually, in this material world, there is no object that can be compared to beauty of Lord Krishna. But the maximum or the highest beautiful objects are blue lotus flower or moon. But here, those are also created by Lord Brahma. And demigods are saying that you are the most beautiful than anything else in this material world. So I remember about the past time when Krishna has rescued the 16,000 princes of kidnapped by Bhaumasura. Then in the prison, they were thinking about Krishna, they were glorifying and meditating upon Krishna's beautiful form, and how he was beautiful as lotus flower or full moon. And they were completely absorbed into the Krishna's pastimes, activities, characters, qualities. Then Krishna came and rescued. After Krishna rescued them, instead of saying thank you to Krishna for saving us, they said sorry. Then Krishna asked why sorry. Then they said, oh, we did a big mistake that we compared you, your beautiful form, with a moon and lotus flower. That's a big mistake. Where is that moon? But where is your beauty? So that's why we're asking for forgiveness. So like that, there is no comparison for Krishna's beauties, anything in this material world. But there is still comparison with lotus flower and moon, because that's the only object that we know in this world. So further, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning about demigods have thought that Krishna is also like among themselves, created by Lord Brahma. In fact, Brahma did not create Krishna. Krishna has created Lord Brahma, and we have seen elaborately how Lord Brahma has taken a birth from the lotus flower that is sprouts from Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu navel. And so he's the, and from Bhagavad Gita, he is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Matta Sarvam Pravartate. He is the origin for both material and spiritual worlds. And he is the seed-giving father for all the living entities. That is Aham Bija Prada Pita. So further, text 14. So this is this verse talks about his Krishna's wonderful pastimes and the topmost, highest rasa that he has with Vraj Gopis. So after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, Krishna left Vrindavan. So when when that happened, young Gopis and all Brajvasis of all Brajvasis, they were so stunned and they couldn't finish their duties. Their eyes and their mind are after him. So this is the topmost and highest ecstasy that Brajvasis exhibit for Krishna. That to the young Gopis, that they have conjugal love with Krishna. So here in Purport, Srila Prabhupada has written that Brajavasis, they were so much attached to Krishna with a lot of affection and love. And even Lord Krishna has admitted that I cannot repay you. I'm defeated by your service. So I cannot, it is impossible for me to repay you or show enough gratitude for you. Therefore, please be satisfied with your own service. And it is multiple times quoted by Srila Prabhupada in Krishna book and several purports also, the exalted position of Vraj Gopis. So, and so their minds and their eyes are thinking, always thinking about Krishna, and they're so stunned by the situation that they couldn't finish their household duties. And we can clearly see that as practicing devotees, we try to remember Krishna, but Rajvasis, they always remember about Krishna, and in the situation where they want to forget about Krishna so that they can perform their household duties, they cannot do so. They're trying to forget Krishna, but they're not able to. It is completely opposite in the practicing devotees. We are trying to remember Krishna. So here in the revealed scriptures also, Lord Krishna personally present in Vrindavan all the time. He never left Vrindavan. So it is only that he's not visible at the present, but he's not. Why he's always there in Vrindavan? Because of the transcendental love of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. That's why he is always there in Vrindavan. So text 15. Yeah. So Krishna is unborn. He is the Adi Purusha. But he still takes birth when there is a friction between his peaceful devotees and the others. Others include karmis, jnanis, and yogis. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the devotees of Lord are always peaceful. They don't have any hankering for the material positions or spiritual salvation. They just want to situate in the transcendental loving service of Supreme Lord. So when karmis, in the case of karmis, they always hanker for the material positions. We want this, that, and all. Whereas jnanis and yogis, they seek for spiritual salvation. We want to be one with God. We want some siddhis. So they always go for some spiritual positions. But whereas for devotees, it is always service to Lord and loving and giving loving service to Supreme Lord. So sometimes it happens that devotees of the Lord are being harassed by the others. Others are karmis, gnanis, and yogis. So one pastime is that a great yogi, Durvas Muni, he has harassed Amrish Maharaj, who is a great devotee of Lord. At the time, Krishna has protected him. And also the Karmi and Gnani example is given here is Hiranyakasipu, how he has harassed his own Vaishnava son, Prahlad Maharaj. So we know how the wonderful incarnation of Narsimhadev, how he has appeared and protected Prahlad Maharaj. So there are so many instances like that when there is such harassment of the peaceful devotees by the Itaras. Itaras is karmis, gnanis, and yogis. Then Supreme Lord appears along with his plenary portions. Those are Purushas, Karnodakasaya Vishnu, Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakasaya Vishnu. And so why Krishna appears? We know that Krishna has declared in Bhagavad Gita that Paritranaya sadhuna vinasaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanardhaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So to protect the devotees and to punish the miscreants and to establish dharma appear in each yuga. So here, so Lord Krishna has a mission why he appears. And also he comes along with his plenary portions. And here Srila Prabhupada writes that it's a very common thing that we hear that he's the incarnation of Narayana, he's the incarnation of Kshirodakasaya Vishnu, and some say that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it is clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From Bhagavatam it is Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa Krishnastu Swayam Bhagavan. And in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna has multiple times explained that I am the Supreme, I am the original person. And from Brahma Samhita, we hear that Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So it is established Krishna's supremacy and Supreme Personality of Godhead in various scriptures, and our acharyas emphasize that multiple times. So here, Srila Prabhupada has quoted the Vedic hymns also, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam. So he comes along with his plenary portions. And further, 16, and Uddhava was remembering about how Krishna has taken a birth in the prison house, even though he is unborn, and how he went from his father's protection to Raja, and he lived there incognito out of fear of enemy who is Kamsa. And those are all bewildering incidents Uddhava was saying, because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's unborn, he's taking birth in the prison, and he's seeking for father protection, and he lived in Vrindavan incognito out of fear. So Srila Prabhupada has beautifully explained the purports and the coming purports about and explanations, commentary around it. So the purport, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how he is the original person, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. And also from Bhagavatam, Vedanta Sutra, Janmatyasya Etanvayat. So that means that nothing can be equal or to be or greater than him. And the Lord is supremely perfect. So whenever he enacts his transcendental pastimes as a son, enemy, he plays the part. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that so in any pastime, Krishna perfectly plays his role. In Kunti prayers also, Kunti Maharani says that you are an actor on the stage. So whether he's acting as a son, as an enemy, as a friend, as a lover, as a husband, he perfectly plays as a king. He perfectly plays that role. So because he is supremely perfect, nobody else can be greater or equal to him, even playing that role. So he completely enacts in his transcendental pastimes that way. So here also, Uddhava know that Lord Krishna has just disappeared from his vision. It's like sunrise and sunset, manifestation and unmanifestation of Krishna's from our eyes. But he's still in separation from Krishna, that he has disappeared from his eyes, because Krishna has made such arrangements that even few devotees of Lord, they also bewildered sometimes about these incidents. So it is like, why he does that? Because he wants to give the transcendental pleasure to his devotees. So the example is given here that when a father plays with son, and he acts like he is defeated and fell to the ground, then son becomes some happiness. He finds some happiness there, that I defeated my father. So father just wants to give that pleasure to son, so he acts like that. Similarly, Krishna performs all these pastimes, and he enacts his transcendental pastimes as a son, as a friend, just to give the pleasure to his devotees. And also, it is possible for him to adjust opposites such as birth and no birth, power, defeat, fear and fearlessness, everything. He resolves. He resolves all these contradictions in him because he is absolute person. Even in Canto 1, we hear how when Krishna was living for Dwaraka, so Dwarkavasis have received him, welcomed him with so much love. And when they came, it was described by Sukadeva Goswami that how Krishna was looking, he was wearing yellow garments. Somebody was holding white umbrella for him, and his garland was like rainbow. His face is moon. So practically, sun, moon, rainbow, umbrella, all those are resolving in him, because even though those are contradictions, everything is possible for Krishna. Like that, birth, no birth, fear, fearfulness, fearlessness, defeat, victory, everything can be resolved in Krishna, because he is absolute person and he acts perfectly according to that pastime. So it may appear that sometimes in Vedic statements, those are contradictory, but they appear contradictory if actually there is no contradiction. Prabhupada is saying that. So everything is possible only when we understand that Supreme Personality of Godhead is not one among us. He is always supreme, he is always perfect, he is absolute. Then there won't be any contradictory. 17th. And Uddhava is further explaining about how Lord Krishna has begged pardon from his parents. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that so if Lord Krishna and Baldeva are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how was it possible that they were afraid of Kamsa? So is there any contradiction in such statements? So here Prabhupada still writes about the contradiction part in addition to the previous purport. So Vasudeva, he's a great devotee of Krishna. Due to his great appreciation and love for Krishna, he never thought that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why he wants to protect Krishna, because with all other his previous sons, those were killed by Kamsa. So Vasudeva wanted to give protection to Krishna, and so in order to reciprocate that, Krishna is receiving that service. And Krishna did not want to disturb the intense affection of Vasudeva, so he agreed to be carried by his father Vasudeva to Nanda Maharaj house. So, so we see that Krishna is reciprocating with Vasudeva intense love towards him. It's not because of the fear of Krishna and fear of Kamsa. It is to reciprocate Vasudeva's love and affection. He's going to Vrindavan. He is eternal abode, of course. So Yeah. So again, here Prabhupada writes that, and in addition to that, and the most brilliant part is that Krishna is begging pardon from his parents that he's unable to render service to their lotus feet because he's there in Vrindavan. So this one is about Devaki and Vasudeva. Krishna was asking pardon that I'm unable to render service unto you because of the fear of Kamsa. I had to live in Vrindavan. So that is the most beautiful part of his supreme character. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, where everybody wants shelter at his lotus feet. But he's asking the service towards his devotees. And what Krishna is explaining, what Krishna is showing is that best example. Even though I'm the supreme personality of Godhead, I still respect my mother and father. So whatever the position that anybody has, they have to respect their mother and father. Krishna is showing that as an example. There is an instruction by Supreme Lord. So because son is indebted to his parents in so many ways, and it is the duty of the son to serve his parents. So lotus feet of Krishna, we see that how the pure devotees are always taking shelter at his lotus feet, and the fragrance that is coming from the lotus feet can turn anybody into devotees. Like we see that how four Kumaras have became pure devotees after smelling the fragrance coming from his lotus feet, tulsi leaves, and how it is a shelter for Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and always a goddess of fortune. She is seeking service at the lotus of Krishna. So and that person, he is saying, he's asking pardon with his parents that I'm unable to render service unto your lotus feet. So we can see that reciprocation of Krishna with his devotees. 18. So after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, so could ever anybody can forget it? It's like we see how four Kumaras have turned into from impersonalists to how they became pure devotees after smelling lotus feet of Krishna. So like that, when just by expanding his eyebrows, he could deliver death blows to those who are burdening the earth just by raising eyebrows. And we have seen how Krishna has shown so many extraordinary pastimes, lifting Govardhana at the age of 7 with his left hand, pinky finger, for 7 days and 7 nights. He protected all the Brajvasis with his and has performed a beautiful pastime. So he performed so many times those extraordinary pastimes to exhibit his supremacy and his love towards his devotees. And 19. And Uddhava was further explaining about how Sisupala, how Krishna has shown mercy to the envious person Sisupala also. In the purport that so in the Rajasvaya sacrifice, Sisupala insulted Lord Krishna, and what happened is when Krishna has killed Sisupala after his 100 after tolerating Sisupala's 100 mistakes, then everybody can see that the light from the body of Sisupala has merged into the body of Krishna. So everybody got stunned about that, and even Yudhishthira Maharaj asked the question, how you are equal to everyone? You are showing the same mercy to the envious person, Sisupala. So he asked that question. Because Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. He is showing mercy on everybody, but it is seen externally, seems that it is different, but he's showing mercy on all of us. Yeah, here it is given further explained by Prabhupada that so whoever is trying to understand the supreme truth by their personal endeavors or mystic powers of yoga, they achieve the same goal as others who are personally killed by the Lord. For example, yogis and gnanis, they try their own endeavor and they achieve the same result as the others, like killed by Lord Krishna. In this case, Sisupala has achieved the same result, that is oneness with God. Yeah, that is about, and because Uddhava was saying that Vidura was also present at that time in the Rajasviya sacrifice, therefore Uddhava was referring that incident to his memory. You were also present there. Uddhava was saying that to Vidura. And 20th, and it is about Kurukshetra war, that how everybody was purified by the arrows of Arjuna, and by seeing lotus face of Krishna, so they achieved the abode of Lord. And Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport about the different people achieving Krishna in a spiritual abode, and are merging into his body, getting into Vaikuntha. So he has beautifully explained in this purport. Please read it when you get some time today. So here Krishna appears in this world for two missionary purpose, that is to protect the faithful and to annihilate the miscreants. And here yeah, because he is absolute, his two different kinds of actions, although apparently different, but they're ultimately one and same. Like Sisupala, his annihilation of a person like Sisupala is as auspicious as his actions for the protection of the faithful. So even though Krishna is killing, it seems that he's killing the miscreants and protecting the devotees, but they are same. They just apparently different. Why? Because he's giving salvation to the demons also. Whomever got killed by Krishna, they got salvation. And for which that Gnanis and yogis try to attain by their own endeavor. So in Kurukshetra war also, so whoever is looking at Krishna's lotus face, so they also attained the supreme abode, that is Vaikuntha planets, because by appreciating, looking at Krishna's beauty, their love has awakened in their heart towards God. So that's why they could, they could attain Vaikuntha. So what happens is Sisupal achieved the oneness with Lord by merging in his impersonal flare of the body called Brahma Jyoti. So whereas the other people who are in the marginal position, they being neither friends nor enemies, but they slightly develop love for God, then they achieve, they're promoted to spiritual planets, the Vaikunthas. Whereas the Lord's personal abode is called Goloka Vrindavan, where for those who have attained the full love of Godhead, they will attain Goloka. So that is the difference we can clearly see between Brahma Jyoti and Vaikuntha, Narayana abode, and Goloka, where the natural love and affection devotees show towards Lord. So here, how that, and again, Srila Prabhupada explains further that how that fullest extent of love of Godhead can be awakened in one's heart is because of the few devotees. That's why when Arjuna has shot the arrows towards the opposite warriors, because of Arjuna was first reluctant to fight in the battlefield, right? So after hearing Bhagavad Gita instructions and he wanted to assist Supreme Lord mission, then Arjuna, whatever activities that he's doing is to please Supreme Lord and by following his instructions. Because of that, the arrows that were shot by Arjuna, when they got into the opposite warriors, they got purified. All their consciousness got purified because of the pure devotees' interaction. So there is no difference between the killing by his pure devotee or killed by Lord himself. That's why they got purified, and looking at the lotus face of Krishna, they got appreciation towards him, and they attained spiritual abode. Those are Vaikunthas. And 21. So Uddhava was explaining that how Krishna is the Lord for all kind of threes. So all kind of threes are explained here in the purport. And Lord Krishna is so mild and merciful. He's the Lord of three worlds. He's the Lord for all the three qualities of the material nature. He's the Lord for three Purushas: Kalodakasaya Vishnu, Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, Kshirodakasaya Vishnu. And he's the Lord for all Shakti, the three Shaktis: Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. And he's the complete master of all six opulences: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So, so he's worshipped by all the eternal maintainers of the creation with all the paraphernalia. And 22. And Uddhava is further saying that he's still showing his astonishment. How can we feel that pain in our heart when Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, stands before King Ugrasena, and he was submitting the explanations that please know this, my Lord. So Krishna was telling all this to Ugrasena, that all the calculations and all the submissions, as a submissive princess, he's submitting them to his to Ugrasena. So in the purport, we can see that Lord Krishna's gentle behavior towards his superiors, such as father, grandfather, elder brother, so and his so-called wives. So these are all bewildering, and his behavior as a child, being controlled by Mother Yashoda, and his naughty dealings with young girlfriends. Those are all bewildering incidents to the common people. So, but for non-devout, and Uddhava is very sad that non-devotees will understand that, will not understand Krishna's dealings as a child, as elder brother, as a son. They will misunderstand. Like in Bhagavad Gita 9.11, so Krishna is not avajanati mamuda manushim tanumasthitam param bhavam ajanyato mama bhuta maheshwaram. So persons with a poor fund of knowledge, Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is not revealed to them. So even though Krishna has explained his position very clearly in Bhagavad Gita, that he is the Supreme Person and he is not revealed to demonic people, but the people who have mental speculation and who have some material gains and intentions, they try to squeeze some misinterpretations from Bhagavad Gita and present to their misfortune followers. It's very unfortunate that. And pure devotees like Uddhava, they never misled by such atheistic arguments. 23. So this is a very beautiful verse. Ahobakiyam. Ahobakiyam stanakala kutam jigamsayapayad api asadvi. Lebhe gatim datri uchitam tatonyam kamba dayalum saranam rajema. So this one is Uddhava was saying that whom else that I can take shelter. Lord Krishna is very merciful that even the she demon, that is Putana, came to kill Krishna with an intention by giving poisonous milk, but Krishna has given her Dhatri position, the mother position in Vrindavan, in Goloka Vrindavan. So whom else that I can take shelter? That Uddhava was saying that. We know that how Sukadeva Goswami got inspired by hearing this sloka. First he was impersonalist. After hearing this sloka, and he understand the supremacy and the Supreme Person, and he came back to Vyasadeva to hear about Srimad Bhagavatam completely. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has written that Krishna has accepted motherhood of Putana, even though she pretended to be because she pretended to be an affectionate mother, and she allowed Krishna to suck her breast. Because of that, Krishna has given her mother position. He did not see her intention, he just saw her action, that he came to give him milk. So because like that, Krishna accepts all of us with the least qualification and awards us with highest regard. It is not only for Putana, for all of us. He just look for the best out of us and he gives the highest reward. So because that is his character. So whom else that we can take shelter apart from Krishna? This is such a beautiful verse. Yeah, we can end here. I went a little bit 10 minutes late. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mati. Wonderful session, Mati. Hare